Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings, and there are a lot of important news updates that I have to stop the important work that I'm doing here at Anarchapulco to give you this video. Before jumping right into it, I want to thank everyone for supporting us and allowing these videos to be for you for free every single day by simply purchasing some of our merchandise. We have really creative cell phone cases, hats, shirts, you name it, we got it. And your purchases allow free, independent thought and press to still continue in this country. Check out the link in the description below. Now, yesterday there was a major transformative event that, quote, a lot of people in the media establishment didn't see coming. And of course, I am talking about the New Hampshire primaries, which in the media we are getting reports about Joe Biden placing in a disastrous 5th place. We're also getting a lot of news about Pete Buttigieg finishing in 2nd place. But wait, who won this thing? Well, the winner, that of course is shocking everyone in the media, not most people online, not most independent media that have been seeing the energy behind this man, and that of course is Bernie Sanders, that won the New Hampshire primary yesterday with 25.8% of the vote. In 2nd place was, of course, a mystery man that came out of nowhere and worked for a CIA front company, Pete Buttigieg, that the media elites are desperately trying to push and promote as much as they can in a very extreme kind of desperate attempt here, which I personally do not think will work. Now, with Bernie Sanders being the front runner right now, he soon might not have to ask you for financial support, but might be using the full apparatus and power of the military-industrial police state that this country has in order to kneecap you for financial support for his ideas. And this idea and everything that Bernie Sanders represents, let's be honest here, has scared the crap out of many establishment candidates and figures in this country who, of course, were promoting people like Joe Biden, who is just as popular as Juan Guaido in Venezuela, that recently got assaulted and attacked. Juan Guaido, of course, is also someone that many people say is connected to the CIA. He is the opposition leader that's being championed on by both Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi, but it looks like he definitely got a very rough introduction when he recently landed in Venezuela. Joe Biden, the media's favorite candidate that all the polls had winning, is literally as real as Jussie Smollett and his street cred. By the way, also in separate news, Jussie Smollett is being charged again with lying to the authorities, the police, on 6 counts after a grand jury indictment that restarted the case against him. Since last year, all of his charges were magically dropped from a prosecutor that, of course, the Obamas were connected to. But yeah, you get my point here. There is really no popular support for Joe Biden. There is no energy here, and it's kind of it's not good seeing him. I mean, you almost kind of feel bad for him, but he's trying to tell everyone right now that he's just getting started, as he is promising to take the country back now. What were you doing before, Joe? I mean, everyone was criticizing him because of his very rough campaigning style. I mean, there's a certain point where you know, enough people tell you to sniff girls that you would stop sniffing little adolescent girls. He hasn't learned that, and now he is saying that yeah, he's still I can't believe this guy. He's gonna still take the country back somehow now, and it's just pathetic here. And again, all the energy is behind Bernie Sanders. A lot of the media elite are always shocked and surprised when, of course, the candidates that represent most of the people, that represent the working class, the middle class, the lower class, they're shocked that their representation actually matters. Because when we look at the candidates that they promote, you look at the ideas that they promote, they're all kind of elitist, stupid ideologies that profit the special interests that control the media. I mean, that's what the media is. I mean, there's no denying that. The media works for the special interests. They work for the establishment. And even just recently, MSNBC's anchors were surprised as they caught a man on the street who they really weren't happy about interviewing. Clearly, that wasn't that happy about the idea of socialism. The clip's great. We're not going to play it here, but you could find it online. But again, what this Trump supporter and the supporters of Bernie Sanders have is, of course, populist support. Ideas that resonate in the minds of many people. And if you really looked at Donald Trump and especially Bernie Sanders in the last election, they spoke to the majority of the country, to the point where the DNC and Hillary Clinton had to screw Bernie Sanders over to get the nomination, which he took very well without lube, and then sanctioned his minions to worship Emperor Palpatine. To vote for Hillary Clinton, which was one of the reasons that I was kind of disappointed with him. I'm also disappointed with him since, of course, he's also not as consistent as many people say he is. I mean, 5 years ago when he was running and being cheated by the DNC, he openly talked about how open borders are a Koch brothers proposal and would be hurting the American middle class. He has flip-flopped on that, and he is now totally for open borders. Donald Trump also has flip-flopped on what he promised his campaign to be about on a lot of the core issues, specifically regarding foreign policy. And just providing all the information here, this is one of the reasons why, personally, I don't support any person having power over me. I don't support any person ruling over me, and it's important to point out some of the hypocrisies, even though Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders do represent the populist demands and speak the rhetoric of the common person, and also, in my opinion, are a lot better than the CIA shills that the establishment elite are trying to jam down your throat with the mainstream media. They're a lot better than those individuals, but we have to still understand with their rhetoric, with their flip-flopping, that at the end of the day, that these are still politicians that will always cater to the bottom line. So, multi-layered propaganda here that I'm trying to expose. The language, the thoughts, the ideas that Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders propose are great, both of them, but in all actuality, they're still politicians, but way better than all the other kind of direct CIA ones. But that's just my take on it. What do you think? You're probably going to try to convince me either way that I'm right or wrong some way. You can. I'll listen to you in the comment section below. I'm very open-minded. Try to change my mind. I love that aspect of it, as long as we're staying away from, of course, emotionally based fear-mongering propaganda. And in similar news with emotional-based fear-mongering propaganda, we have Peak China, represented here by this headline by Zero Hedge, that details how Chinese propaganda is releasing videos showing corona victims dancing in detention facilities. Meanwhile, we're seeing terrifying videos like this with trucks spraying unknown chemicals all throughout China, trying to, of course, fight the coronavirus that has been recently named COVID-19. And yeah, seeing these videos definitely doesn't really reassure me at all, and it actually should make more people worried, as of course the Chinese propaganda machine is ramped up, trying to, of course, ease the concerns of everyone. And when the Chinese state, the big bureaucratic government, tells you everything's okay, calm down, this is the time where you shouldn't do that. And yeah, knowing the true reality of the kind of situation, this is definitely concerning, because it definitely doesn't match up with a lot of the facts of the cases that are developing here and the other crazy videos that we were seeing all throughout China play out, with some people describing it as a horror film, with many dead bodies still in the streets all over China, and many people who are sick still waiting days for care. And of course, this virus is also spreading worldwide, as we've been documented and talking about, as the United Kingdom just confirmed their first case in London, as some media organizations there are still, for some reason, calling to restart flights to China. Now, the reason that a lot of kind of media, elitist organizations are trying to push for, the flights to continue to China is because of the severe economic effects that this virus has had on Chinese slave-made goods being in the global world market. Let's just call a spade here, okay? Let's just be honest here for a little second here. Even the Gucci owner's complaining, most likely because of his slave-made products can't be shipped all over the world, but he's blaming the kind of deteriorating economic outlook on, the COVID-19 virus, which again, as we've been saying from the very beginning, will have very detrimental economic impacts on not just the Chinese market, but also some kind of impact on the global market. And I think, again, especially when it comes to the Chinese government just being proven liars, I think it's always best to be safer than sorry, especially since the Chinese government has been arresting, detaining, and putting people away who have been really telling us the truth about the situation. Like, doctors, journalists, independent reporters in China who have been imprisoned. Yeah, that deserves to be internationally condemned, but a lot of people are celebrating the cheers of China for some reason, like Donald Trump. And I definitely don't think we should be rushing to open up a lot of the societal norms for now, because again, the damages from this virus will be more severe than economic ones, especially if people rush to go back to normalcy. Since again, this is not a normal situation, it's one that is still unfolding. And even though there's a lot of fear surrounding this is always best to remain calm, cool, collected, and ready for anything. As of course we're seeing the trajectory of this still increase, it most likely will decrease in a few months, especially with the weather changing, but eventually it will decrease. But right now we're still at a very uncertain state because of the Chinese government lying, which a lot of people have been afraid to talk about, but again, it would be a huge disservice not to talk about that very big specific aspect here as bluntly as we can. And again, the situation is serious, and there's some mongoloids not taking it seriously at all, with pranksters using this situation trying to build clout, like these high IQ winners that boarded a subway train with Kool-Aid in a bin that was labeled the coronavirus, that they spilled all over the subway and scared the crap out of people. Or these bloggers in Russia who did a similar video, jumping on the ground and then shaking and coughing on everyone, causing panic, which is pretty dumb. And there's been a lot of stupidity and ignorance with people fleeing the quarantine zones, bragging about how they lied and were able to escape detection with very serious drugs. There's been a lot of fake news and also animal cruelty and abuse in some parts of China because of a lot of the fear-mongering and fake news being spread out there, while other people in China are doing their due diligence to try to make sure that their pets don't get sick and affected with this latest virus. So yeah, remain calm, chill out. If you're, sick, quarantine yourself, meditate. I don't know, find yourself internally, do some introspection. Look at where you're going in life. You see, not enough people do that. That's stuff the media doesn't tell you to do. Media, especially the boob tube, it's like, breaking news, Walt Belcher here, oh my God. And that's one person, and another person I won't even mention. You know what I'm talking about here. Non-stop, constant attack on your psyche, so you can't take a second and just breathe and be like, yeah, man, everything's not as bad as they tell us. And that's the reality of the case. Always be prepared, always be ready, but never let anyone be in control of your consciousness, of your experience that you're having in this world. The sole determiner of that is you. You are in charge. You are responsible. Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump, they're not going to do this for you. You will determine your life. And that's why I'm a huge proponent of just chilling out, meditating. Your mind constantly thinking, overthinking. Let it calm down, relax, evaluate your life, see where you're going, change the trajectory. Let's go in a positive, good direction. And we can only do that with free thought, free speech, and free independent media. A lot of this is mainly because of you watching and sharing this video, and because you still do that. Going down, right down, with the button, click copy the URL, sending it to your friends and family members. This is why I'm still here, and this is why I love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.